The teacher told the students to study every night.
But did they study every night? That's a whole nother question. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a good week. And today we're going to be looking at something more on the chill side. All right, see some people still jumping in. Hello, Ada. Let's see what's happening with Jimena. Good morning, Carla and Dana, Steffi. Good morning, Annette and Fernanda. Gabby, Obed, Vanessa, Angie. Hope you guys are doing well. As the preview video rightly highlighted, today we are looking at gerunds and infinitives. Now, when we think of words in English, we usually think of their place in the sentence, how we're using them, and what we can change if we're changing the time, etc., etc. Right? These are no real different. A gerund is like a noun, but it's made from a verb and adding ing. And an infinitive is a verb with the to in front of it. That's basically all they are. Gerunds are often used when we want to talk about an action that is real, that is fixed, that's complete. And infinitives are often used when something is more abstract, when something is more in the future, or when something is not so real or it hasn't happened yet. All right? When we're using the gerunds and the infinitives, we are oftentimes paying attention to the verbs that are the main verbs in the sentence. So if it's the verb to be, or the verb to want, or the verb to like, or love, etc., prefer, whatever, you're looking at those verbs, and then we'll look at what comes after, and we'll decide, okay, if this is a real situation, I'm going to use an ing. If this is some sort of abstract futuristic thing, I'm going to use the infinitive. There are some verbs that behave differently when you have a gerund, and that behave differently when you have a infinitive. All right, so let's look at why that is, and let's practice together. I believe it's looking at timestamps that, let's see, it was Vanessa that tried to get in first. So Vanessa, let's dive in. I'm going to jump over here. Gerunds and infinitives are a big group, mostly because when we think of them, we are thinking of all of the different verbs that are used to discuss certain things. Now, if your verb is on that real side, it's going to be followed by a gerund. But more importantly, try to see if you can see the pattern. All right. There are verbs that always go with infinitives. There are verbs that always go with gerunds. And there are verbs that can do both. All right. So now that you know that a little bit, let's look at some use cases for them. Now let's start with examples. Vanessa, some examples of these infinitives, gerunds, and both. All right, reads for us.
Okay, I can afford to buy a new car. He began to doubt himself. He began doubting himself. They decided to move to Australia in May. I enjoy listening to music. She hates studying. She hates to study.
Good.
You love dancing. You love to dance.
Continue.
He needed to leave class early because he had an appointment. She can't tolerate complaining.
Hmm.
I try learning English. I try to learn English. My mother could retire.
Hmm.
How to say retired?
Retire, jubilarse.
Ah,
Retire.
okay, retired, but she keeps working.
Right. All of these are different examples of to and your verb, which is infinitive form, ing forms, and whether it can be both. Now look at their position in the sentences. All right. Most of what we're seeing here are in the object or in the complement space. We can also use them in other places. Ada, let's look at how we can use our gerunds and our infinitives.
Yes, we can use the gerunds or the infinitive as the object, subject, or complement of a sentences. But in general, it is more common to use the gerund as the subject.
All right, keep going. Examples.
Mhm. I like cooking. I like to cook. She continued working. She continued to work.
Mhm.
Swimming is good exercise. Drinking and driving is dangerous. The best thing to do when you are sick is to drink a lot of water. My favorite exercise is swimming.
Good. Now notice as a subject we used swimming, and notice we can also use it as an object. It's much more common to find gerunds in the subject line, but you can find gerunds and infinitives in the complement or the object line. All right, let's continue. With some verbs, we're generally going to be careful what we mean, what we want to convey. Carla, number 3.
With some verbs, the meaning
The
of
meaning.
the
Mhm.
sentences can change with the
Change.
use change with the use of the gerunds of the infinitive. Forget, man, remember, stop.
Indeed.
I
Mhm.
mhm. I forgot greeting that email. I forgot to greet that email. Stop watching the news. Stop to watch the news.
All right. Now, just like in Spanish, the use of certain words with other words will give sentences double meaning or opposite meanings. This is also true in English. You look at these and it's like, okay, the only difference is writing or to write. Yes, I forgot writing. And this is a really curious case. I'm gonna go up and switch it over to Spanish so you can see the examples in Spanish. And it's really, really cool. One means that you completed the action, so it's real, and the other one is something you will have to do in the future because it's not true. All right. So the same way we thought of conditional sentences to be real or unreal, be very, very careful with how we use certain verbs because the meaning will change completely. All right. You wrote the email, but you forgot, or did you forget to write the email? Did you stop doing something or did you stop to do something? All right. These are very cool ways that you see the language will change with a slight movement. Whether you choose the infinitive or the gerund will affect the meaning of certain sentences depending on the verb. Okay, let me go back up to the top and switch back over to English so we can continue reading. All right, here we go. Now, there are verbs that mean the same thing, doesn't matter if you use it in the gerund or the infinitives. But there are also verbs that are going to be in their infinitive form based on other things. Number 4, let's go with hello, Marco. You jump in.
The infinitive is used after adjectives: disappointed, glad, happy, pleased, relieved,
Relieved.
sad, and surprised.
All right. These are adjectives. These are descriptive words applied to nouns. Help us with the examples, Marco.
I am glad to see she was surprised to find the door unlocked. Unlocked.
All right. Now, I would be surprised if I found the door locked as well. When we have descriptive words, we're going to follow them with infinitive. The idea here is very different from when we follow prepositions. Let's go with Romina, number 5.
Yeah. And number 5, the only gerund can be used after prepositions: about, against, at, after, before, by, on, without.
All right. Now, prepositions, you will see them again, but look at some examples, Dana.
Yeah. Examples. He's good at listening. I always wait before going to bed. You can't leave without saying goodbye.
All right. Now, notice at, before, without. We also have other prepositions. And even when they're in noun phrases like advantage of, danger of, interested in experience in, opportunity of, reason for, and problem with, it's still using prepositions. And therefore, we're going to be following them with gerunds as well. Stephanie, help us with the examples.
Yes, teacher. Examples. What is the advantage of waiting? I am interested in taking an English class. His problem finding a new job was his lack of experience.
Since we have noun phrases and not descriptions, we're using INGs. INGs are also going to be following what we call idiomatic expressions. Aneth, number 7.
The gerund is also used after some expressions and phrasal verbs. To look forward to be worth, can't help, don't mean, feel like. Examples. We weren't really looking forward to seeing you. That movie was not worth seeing. I can't help falling in love.
Right. Now, yes, there's one of them that had a gerund after a preposition, forward to, but it doesn't need to always be the prepositions. I think the easiest way to remember these examples are which verbs normally take infinitives and is there adjective. All the others are generally going to be grabbing prepositions. All right, now let's do some activities. Let me jump back over to our first slide. Let's see if you saw and understood. Number 1, dancing or to dance? Pacheco. Right there with us, Fernanda? And number 2, while the other Fernando. Yeah, ready? Go ahead.
When I finish to write this letter, I'll come and help you.
When I finish is your verb. All right, finish is usually followed by dun, 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 a gerund, ing form, right? So when I finish writing, I'll come and help you. Repeat, Perez.
When I finish writing this letter, I'll come and help you.
Good. All right, back to you, Pacheco.
Yes. I often go dancing on a Saturday night.
All right. Gabby, number 3.
I am planning to
To buy,
yeah, to buy a new laptop new.
All right. I am planning to buy a new laptop. All right. Number 4, Obed.
I need sleeping at least 8 hours at night.
I need to sleep. All right.
Okay.
If you look at your list again,
Is
it's all the way down here at the bottom. But need is usually followed by infinitive, right? I need to sleep.
yes, yes. Okay, okay.
All right. Practice again.
I need to sleep at least 8 hours a night.
Good. Number 5, Angela.
Yes. I want to move to London next year.
Good. Number 6, Arellano.
Would you consider to give the speech at our anniversary party?
Anniversary party. Our verb here is consider. Now, is consider followed by a gerund or an infinitive? And in this case, is a little bit easier. Is this present or is this future? Would you consider giving the speech? Or would you consider to give the speech? All right? We'll come back to that one. Number 7, who did I skip? Vanessa?
She avoids to walk in the rain.
Right. Avoid. I don't think that one is on your list either. All right. I probably need to give you guys better lists. These two, to consider, to avoid, both of these are real things. All right. So, would you consider giving the speech? She avoids walking in the rain. These are habits or decisions that we make. All right. Ada, number 8.
Yes. Emily promised to eat all her vegetables.
All right. Hope she keeps her promises. Carla.
I don't mean um, to kill.
All right. What do we see here? Mind. Now, we have a section that we spoke about phrases in English. What do we do with certain phrases in English? Worth, mind. After certain verbs that are in these phrasal form, we will use the gerund. I don't mind, ing. I don't mind calling. Repeat.
I don't mind calling them if you don't want to.
Good. All right. Marco, number 10.
You need to practice listening.
Oh, yeah. Will do you a lot of good. Number 11. Let's see who's next. Dana Romina.
Yeah. Did anyone volunteer? Um, did anyone working on Saturday?
All right. And that's why I paused earlier when we saw consider, because both of these things are talking about the future. So why here volunteer will go with to and consider will go with ing. Let's look at volunteer. Is volunteer one of those words on my list? Dun, 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 dun. It's going to be easy. No, life is never easy. All right, it's not on my list. So how do I know? Here we have a specific date in the future, but we don't know the certainty. Here we have a decision. All right, so that's a way you can try to remember. Did anyone volunteer to work on Saturday? Repeat.
Did anyone volunteer to work on Saturday?
Good. All right, let's keep going with Steffi.
He refuses talking to me
All right, same thing like here.
to talk.
Refuse. Yeah, it's gonna be to talk. Is refuse on my list? I don't think refuse is on the list. Let's check. It is. It's one you can try to memorize. Refuse always goes with infinitive. So this one you can try to memorize. Refuse to talk. Repeat.
He refused to talk to me.
All right. And Aneth, last one. I enjoy. Enjoy is on the list. Aneth's still here with us. Earth to Aneth. There you
I
go.
enjoy watching romantic
Exactly.
movies.
Right? Also on your list, right? So, one, try to see if you can see the patterns by reviewing your list of words that usually go with gerunds or go with infinitives, and then look at the patterns. Is this sentence using an adjective, or is it using an expression with a preposition, a phrasal verb, etc., etc., right? And look at your patterns. They will help you. In addition to that, I'll send you some more notes with some more practice. Also, a lot of it will have some Spanish scaffolding and the video that I sent you earlier. Keep on practicing, jump into Unit 4. This one, remember, we're going to be closing off with a doubling up. We're going to review 3 and 4 together in the exam. So get yourself prepared. As always, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. If you need me, let me know. Until next time, take care.